There is luxury, and then there is ultra luxury, and that is what the builder behind Drake's mansion under construction has created.
In the most secured residential corridor in Canada, behind a private gate on a 2-acre lot, sits a 50,000 square foot limestone mansion.
It's a residential construction site like no other. This 35,000 square foot mansion on 2 acres in the Bridle path is the future home of Drake.
That took 6 years to build and cost roughly $100 million. Inside the foyer hangs a 20,000-piece Swarovski crystal chandelier modeled after the one at the Metropolitan Opera. Down one of the hallways, there is a full NBA regulation basketball court built inside the house, painted in black and gold. Past that, a 3,200 square foot master bedroom larger than most family homes in Toronto, a 4,000-pound black marble bathtub, a 2-story walk-in closet, a piano hand-painted by Takashi Murakami. Now, multiply that picture. Add a Boeing 767 private jet parked on a Toronto tarmac with the owner's name painted on the side. Add a partnership with Universal Music Group, reportedly worth $400 million. Add a clothing brand that sells out of every drop. Add a record label, a whiskey company, a Nike sub-brand, and a hand-picked equity stake in one of the most streamed catalogs in music history. This is not a hedge fund manager. This is not the heir to a Canadian banking dynasty. This is a kid from a working-class corner of Toronto who started his career on a teen drama earning less than a teacher's salary, and what he has quietly built is the largest private fortune any Black Canadian has ever assembled. This is a story about how a Toronto kid named Aubrey Drake Graham converted fame into infrastructure, hometown loyalty into ownership, and a $400 million fortune into a blueprint that almost no one has studied at this level. This is the untold financial story of the richest Black man Canada has ever produced. And it starts in a Toronto apartment with the lights almost going out. The origin. Aubrey Drake Graham was born on October 24, 1986, in Toronto, Ontario. His mother, Sandy, was an educator and florist. His father, Dennis, was an African-American drummer from Memphis who had played sessions with Jerry Lee Lewis. His uncle, Larry Graham, was the original bassist for Sly and the Family Stone. The music was already in the walls of the house before Drake ever held a microphone. But the music did not pay the bills. When Drake was 5 years old, his parents divorced. His father moved back to Memphis. Drake stayed with his mother in Toronto. They bounced between neighborhoods that lived in different financial universes. The working-class stretches of Weston Road on one side, the wealth of Forest Hill on the other. His mother enrolled him in a private Jewish day school they could not really afford. He had a formal bar mitzvah at 13. Picture the contrast. He is biracial. He is Black. He is Jewish. He is Canadian. He is the kid at the affluent school whose mother is driving the older car. He has said money was tight. His mother dealt with health problems that pulled her in and out of work. And every day, he walked the same hallways as the children of Toronto's old money families and went home to a very different life. That contrast is the entire emotional foundation of the empire. Drake has spent his career building the version of wealth he watched from the outside as a kid. But to build that wealth, he needed a way in, and he found it on a Canadian cable channel. The Foundation. In 2001, at 14 years old, Aubrey Graham booked a role on a teen drama called Degrassi, The Next Generation. He played Jimmy Brooks, a promising high school basketball player who is shot and paralyzed in a school shooting. The role lasted 7 seasons. The paycheck was modest. By his own description, it was less than a teacher's salary, roughly $40,000 to $50,000 per season. He has said the money mattered because his mother was sick and could not always work. This is where the discipline of the empire starts to show. The first money was not glamorous. It was a basic cable Canadian teen drama. He took the paycheck, sent it home, and used the stability to fund his real ambition. While the other Degrassi kids went to rap parties, Drake was driving to basements in Toronto, recording mixtapes. Room for Improvement dropped in 2006. Comeback Season followed in 2007. So Far Gone arrived in 2009 and changed everything. By the time he signed with Lil Wayne's Young Money Entertainment in 2009, he had already done the hardest thing in the music business. He had built a fan base without a label, without American radio, and without a single billboard south of the border. He arrived at his record deal with leverage. The contracts other artists fight for, he had already earned. This is the lesson most people miss when they look at Drake's career. He did not get rich because the music industry decided to crown him. He got rich because he showed up with a deal he could negotiate from a position of power. That is not luck. That is strategy. But strategy on its own does not build a $400 million fortune. The next move is where the empire actually starts. The rise. Thank Me Later, Drake's debut studio album, was released on June 15, 2010. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. Take Care followed in 2011 and went on to be certified 6 times platinum. Nothing Was the Same, Views, Scorpion, Certified Lover Boy, Her Loss. Every single studio album he has released has debuted at #1. That is not a streak. That is a structural advantage. That is what happens when catalog royalties, publishing rights, and master recording leverage compound year over year for a decade and a half. By April of 2025, Drake had become the first artist in history to surpass 500 million RIAA certified units across albums, singles, and features. His catalog has now crossed 100 billion global streams. Industry estimates place his annual streaming royalty income between $30 and $50 million in passive revenue, the kind of cash that arrives in his account, whether he records another note this year or not. The touring is where the empire really separates itself from his peers. The It's All a Blur tour, running across 2023 and 2024, grossed over $320 million and became the highest-grossing hip-hop tour in history. His lifetime touring gross now sits north of $508 million across roughly 315 shows. He earns somewhere between $1 million and $3 million per night when he is on the road. But here is the part most fans never think about. Touring money is active income. The road eventually closes. Catalog money is forever. And Drake has been quietly making moves to make sure the forever side of the ledger keeps growing. Because the real flex was not the platinum certifications. The real flex was the deed. The real estate? In 2015, Drake purchased a 2-acre lot in the Bridle Path neighborhood of Toronto for $6.7 million. Bridle Path is what locals call Millionaire's Row, wide private lots. Limestone gates. Celine Dion lives across the way. Prince once owned a property nearby. This is the most expensive residential corridor in Canada, the kind of place where lots simply do not come up for sale. Drake did not buy a finished mansion, he bought the land. Then he hired the Canadian luxury designer Ferris Raffaoli and spent the next 5 years building from the ground up a 50,000 square foot custom estate he calls the Embassy. Construction finished in 2020. Total project cost is widely reported around $100 million. The numbers inside the house stop conversations. 44-foot ceilings in the great room, Beaux Arts, limestone exterior. The 20,000-piece Swarovski crystal chandelier inspired by the Metropolitan Opera. An NBA regulation basketball court inside the residence, painted in Ovo black and gold, with a custom scoreboard featuring his logo. A 3,200 square foot master suite with an additional 1,100 square feet of covered terraces. A 4,000-pound black marble bathtub, a 10-car garage, a trophy room for the Grammys, a 2-story walk-in closet, a recording studio, a formal awards room, a Murakami-painted concert grand piano. Drake has called the Embassy his version of the Taj Mahal. He has said he wanted to build a structure that would still be standing 100 years from now. That is the language of dynastic wealth. That is what owners say. That is not a mansion. That is a monument. For anyone keeping count, 50,000 square feet is roughly 15 times the size of the average Canadian single-family home. 2 acres in Bridle Path is land that simply does not change hands. He also owns the YOLO estate in Hidden Hills, California, purchased in 2012 for $7.7 million in cash. He has since spent millions more buying the 2 neighboring properties to expand the compound. The YOLO estate includes a 12,000 square foot main house, a 25-person movie theater, a full-size basketball court, equestrian stables, and one of the largest privately owned residential pools in Southern California. He does not rent, he owns the deed. And the deed is just the second pillar of the empire. The brand is the third. The business empire. In 2012, Drake co-founded OVO Sound, his record label and the launching pad for artists like Party Next Door and Majid Jordan. OVO is short for October's Very Own, a nod to his birth month and his city. The label is part of a larger brand architecture that now includes OVO Clothing, an annual music festival called OVO Fest, a Sirius XM channel called Sound 42, and a production company called Dream Crew, which has produced HBO's Euphoria among other projects. OVO Clothing operates on scarcity, limited drops, long lines outside the flagship Toronto store, resale value built into every release. Industry analysts have compared the cultural reach of the brand in Canada to what Rock Nation built in the United States. Then there is the Nike-NOCTA partnership, signed in 2020. NOCTA is not a one-off sneaker collaboration. It is a full sub-brand under the Nike umbrella, which means Drake collects ongoing royalty income on apparel and footwear sales every quarter the partnership runs. Combined endorsement and partnership income from Nike, Apple Music, and other lifestyle deals is estimated at $10 to $15 million annually. Add Virginia Black Whiskey, co-founded in 2016. Add the Stake.com partnership, reportedly worth $100 million annually. Add his role as the global ambassador for the Toronto Raptors since 2013. The only NBA franchise outside the United States. Add Air Drake, the Boeing 767 private jet, valued at approximately $185 million, painted in custom OVO livery. And then there is the central deal of the entire empire. In May of 2022, Universal Music Group confirmed it had re-signed Drake to what the company described as a long-term worldwide partnership covering recorded music, music publishing, film, television, and brands. The full value has never been officially disclosed. Industry estimates place it at $400 million or more. Drake himself has referenced a deal that came with $360 upfront. This is not a record contract. This is a strategic partnership in which a major corporation is treating one artist as a co-architect of the future of music. That is the difference between being signed and being an owner. But none of this matters if the wealth just stays inside the gate at Bridle Path. The receipt that proves an empire is real is what comes back to the community that built it. The legacy play. The headline numbers are easy to count. The legacy is harder to measure. But it is the part that matters most for a channel like this one. Because the question that defines black wealth is never just how much, it is what comes back. Drake has been remarkably consistent about reinvesting in Toronto. OVO Fest, which started as a small hometown concert in 2010, now drives an estimated tens of millions of dollars in annual economic impact for the city, pulling tourists, filling hotels, and putting Toronto on the global music tourism map. In a country whose music industry has historically funneled its biggest talent south to Los Angeles or New York, Drake stayed. He built the studio in Toronto. He built the brand in Toronto. He built the mansion in Toronto. He has donated to The Way Home, a Toronto organization fighting homelessness. He has funded scholarships at his old high school. He has made significant contributions to Sick Kids Hospital, the major pediatric hospital in his hometown. In 2017, the God's Plan music video distributed nearly $1 million in cash to strangers in Miami, money handed to students, single mothers, and families in grocery store parking lots. The video was not just a charitable stunt, it was a statement about what fame is supposed to do. It is supposed to convert into something other people can actually use. The OVO brand has hired and trained hundreds of designers, marketers, and engineers in a city that does not have the infrastructure of a Los Angeles or a New York. The Raptors ambassadorship has carried NBA culture into Canada at a level no government program ever managed. Drake is not just a celebrity who happens to live in Toronto. He is part of the economic engine of Toronto. And that brings us back to the question this whole video has been building toward. The life now. Today, At 39 years old, Drake lives primarily inside the embassy in Bridle Path. His son, Adonis, born in 2017, has been featured publicly in some of his recent music. He travels on Air Drake. He runs OVO from a Toronto compound. He has scaled back from the relentless touring of his late 20s and early 30s, choosing his shows and his collaborations with the discipline of someone who no longer needs the cash flow. His estimated net worth, according to Celebrity Net Worth and several aligned industry reports, sits at approximately $400 million as of 2026. Some estimates run higher when the full value of the Universal Partnership, his master ownership provisions, and his real estate are factored in. Either way, no Black Canadian, in any industry, in any era, has built a private fortune of this scale. He is not a billionaire yet. Jay-Z is the comparison most reporters reach for, and Jay-Z sits at roughly $2.5 billion on the strength of business ventures outside of music. Drake's empire is more concentrated. He has built almost the entire fortune through the music itself and the brand it generated, which is the rarer achievement. The synthesis. Step back from the numbers and the architecture becomes obvious. A 50,000 square foot estate on Millionaire's Row built from scratch. A Universal Music Group partnership reportedly worth $400 million. A Boeing 767 with his name on the side. An OVO brand that turned a Toronto neighborhood into a global address. A catalog that prints $30 to $50 million a year in passive royalty income, whether he records or not. A touring apparatus that has grossed over $508 million in his lifetime. A real estate portfolio across 2 countries. A sub-brand inside Nike. A whiskey company. A production company. A radio station. A festival. A franchise ambassadorship. A son. A mother still in Toronto. Drake started as a child actor on a Canadian cable show, earning under a teacher's salary. He converted television money into mixtape leverage. He converted mixtape leverage into a record deal he could negotiate from Power. He converted that deal into master ownership. He converted master ownership into brand equity. He converted brand equity into real estate. He converted real estate into legacy. That is the entire blueprint of post-fame Black wealth, executed inside one career by one man, in a country almost no one expected to produce a $400 million artist. Fame is a depreciating asset. The embassy is not. Master recordings are not. A 2-acre lot in Bridle Path is not. A sub-brand inside Nike is not. The wealth that lasts is the wealth that owns the building. Drake did not just become famous in Toronto, he bought it. So tell me in the comments, which piece of Drake's empire impressed you the most? Was it the embassy and the 50,000 square feet of limestone in Bridle Path? Was it the $400 million Universal Music Group partnership? Or was it the way he turned a Canadian teen drama Paycheck into one of the largest private fortunes his country has ever produced? If you want more deep dives on the hidden empires of Black wealth, subscribe to Black Pinnacle and turn on notifications. And click the video on your screen right now to see how another Black icon quietly built a second-act fortune off the camera.